So there is this really popular trim sheet technique that's from Sunset Overdrive. They did a GDC talk called The Ultimate Trim by Martin Olson, and it's something that a lot of people try to replicate. And the sort of key element here is that they use 45-degree angle bevels in their trim sheets. And when you add those two together, 45, 45, you get these really nice 90-degree sort of smooth edges on the edges of your mesh. And I was interested if we could do something similar inside Substance Designer. I know there's people who have done tools for it, but I'd like to know how it works. So today I'll explore how I made it work for me. So inside 3ds Max or Maya, generally it's just a question of making sure the inset you create or the bevel you create is sort of as wide as it is high. So that way you automatically create a 45-degree angle. So I thought to myself, there must be some correlation between the width of the bevel inside Designer and the strength of the normal map. So the first thing I tried was simply multiplying the number I have by 100 and just kind of see if that would work. But as you can see, it sort of creates these like nasty artifacts around the edges, and it's all pinching and stuff, so it doesn't quite work. But it's certainly getting close. Now, if I were a tech artist or I knew something about math, I would input some smart numbers, but I basically went, 10 doesn't work, it's too soft, the angle isn't strong enough. I tried 15, it's too harsh, the angle is too sharp. So I thought to myself, I'll go, 12.5, right, for the normal strength. So the distance times 125. And for some reason, this works surprisingly well, The edges are looking smooth, they're connecting well. Even the sort of vertices and the far points of the cube all looks decent. But now the question becomes, why is 125 working? Because I didn't really know. So I decided to color pick from the normal map, and there's a lot of values that are around that 127 or 125 point. What does it mean? Well, my brain made no connection, and I went monkey brain orb mode and started just swiveling the intensity slider on the normals to see what it would do and if there was any changes that happen. And turns out that at very, very high intensities, it doesn't do anything anymore. Then something clicked where, the limit that we can use is 255 on like the alpha, red, green, blue. And 125 was sort of in the middle of this. And then I realized, when I did the color picker, that we would get a lot of 127, which is sort of in the middle, right? If you divide 255 by 2, it's 17.5. So we can think of 0 as being flat, then 255 as being, basically straight up, and then 127, 128 as being a perfect 45-degree angle, which is what we want. Alright, let us bake the bread. First I'm going to add in a shape, a square, and I'm going to put that at 0.5. Add in a bevel, and plop those together. Put the distance at minus 0.1, I just like that. We'll make it angular, you could expose that, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna make that a new function, integer, whatever, float. And we don't need more than 0 on that, I think. See if that works. That seems about right. We'll need a normal. Plop those together. And then we're gonna need to address that intensity, so make this a new value as well. Constant, yeah. And we won't need that float, I think. We'll delete that later. So we'll get float, we'll get the distance. And then we're gonna need to flip that. We'll need multiply, and then we need negate. That's it, or negation. That's just gonna invert that, so it makes a positive number. We'll grab a float, and we'll make that 1, 2, 7, or 8, whatever you believe in. And that should do it. We'll make the multiply, we'll make that the output note. And that's about it. That looks to be working pretty well. Let's give it a little artist swivel around. Shwoop, shwoop. It seems to be pretty consistent. We'll try to marmoset. The tiny bevels were not very interesting, so let's make them very big, because why not? And there we have a very, very beveled cube. I scaled them up a little bit inside Designer, so it will fit my UVs, but the transform doesn't really do anything else there. Of course, this is an art solution. I imagine you can do something more clever if we address the way we process the height. So let's briefly talk about that. Currently, I'm using the full 0 to 1 height space, let's call it that. But I imagine if we control this more, you might be able to do some math multiplying the distance with the height map, and then we might be able to have the normal map consistently at 127 or 128. If you know how to do this, then you can tell us and make a video about it. Okay, bye.